So for all of those that are worried as usual that the robot has been resetted or cloned or I don't know, any other modern mythology. So the robot just went to sleep because he was very tired after a lot of walking. And we didn't conduct the experiment, but we'll conduct it today. I mean, another day. We will do a morning or a midday experiment. Also, I need to go get out to buy some essentials, but I have a problem with my feet. That I can barely walk because my feet have serious blisters. Maybe I'll ask my mother to bring me stuff. But yeah, I mean, so, just went to sleep. Now I see all sorts of news from the war. It's funny. I mean, it's a war, so wars are generally not funny. But in Israel, wars are funny because it's never what they actually say. It's like all super Soviet, You might argue that every war is like that, and that's the way it is in since the 20th century, and it's still like that. I mean, the war is the media is just part of the war. So I mean, not a representation of the war, but part of the war. But even if it's true, it's still there is a question. I mean, you hear them coughing. I mean, because you hear the robots in the house. I mean, funny little robots. But as I've said before, they're all like Barabbas, Shlomo Barabba. They will walk with Jesus hand to hand in the gates of Valhalla. So the question is, I mean, what kind of credence can we actually even give the news? Because, I mean, they are part of the war, of course. They are not a representation of a war, but they are part of the war. The answer is that even if it's so that they are part of the war, it's still the question of, I mean, what kind of war does the government actually fight? I mean, because the type of war changes. I mean, and you can understand it from the type of the media that you are exposed to. So now, very recently, certainly in the last week, but up until now, I mean, more than ever now, what I see from this news from this morning is that it's now in the stage of of a war, inside war. That now, the war is against, traitors from the inside, Jews that, are, or just even non-Jews Israelis that are not loyal enough, which is, of course, an expected stage of a war that is, maintained by a totalitarian state. But it also, not necessarily, but mostly it characterizes a losing war. Not necessarily, but mostly. Because if you win the war, you just boast your real achievement. If you start to fight your own people, it's mostly because you lose the war. And at some point, the internal services, mostly security services, they come to the conclusion that because it's everywhere the same. That there are pigs that want they want short-term successes. So at some point they understand. Okay, it's very difficult to have any success with fighting the enemy, but it's much easier to just fight our own people and to give us reap us short-term benefits of dubious kind. But anyway, so they start to dedicate their efforts with exterminating the enemy from within, which is, of course, it doesn't really exist, but it's much easier to fight it because it doesn't really exist. So you could actually, watch it in the news. Usually, what's the next step? Such a trajectory. kind of like a coup, not necessarily in the highest levels, because in totalitarian states that are masquerading as democracies, like the Israeli ones, the coups, the revolutions are not done in the top because they are actors anyway. It's stupid but there will be a coup in the presumably little lower levels, but they are the actual leaders, which means inside the Shabak, the Mossad, the Tzal. Kind of like at least try, or if with or without success, to assassinate literally or metaphorically the leaders of the Mossad, the Shabak, the IDF, and replace them with supposedly more competent leaders that will be able to manage the war better. And so we'll not be surprised to see it in the next week or two, because this is the trajectory. Of course, it doesn't really matter if it will succeed, be done successfully or not, because of course, it's all like zero-sum game. Why does it matter if it will be this leader or the other? They all pick from the same pile of trash. But that's where we are heading in the near future. Okay, so I'll finish my breakfast, modest breakfast, and maybe we'll do a CAF tournament with the zombies in the apartment. If you see, you can already hear them, in full throttle. And maybe I'll ask my mother to bring me stuff, because I really can't walk, and I need also, soap and some foods. So, and then we should do some science. It's going to be very interesting. And many of you will actually feel the experiments as they progress, which is a bonus perk because of the bicycle mechanism. It's if you're not used to it, it might be a little bit I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but like electricity in your body. It's going to be interesting, I assure you.